She won't tell you this, but the way you hug her matters more than you think. 1 second too soon, and it feels empty. 1 second too long, and it feels forced. But just right, and you'll create a feeling that lingers. The kind that plays over in her mind, hours later, when she's alone, wondering why she can't stop thinking about you. This isn't about tactics or tricks. It's about presence, pressure, and emotional resonance. Master those, and your hug will speak louder than any words ever could. Segment 1: Why most men miss the moment, and how to master presence. Most men walk through the world with their heads full and their hearts disconnected. And when they hug, it shows. They treat it like a formality, a quick press of the body, a gesture to signal the start or end of something. But what they don't realize is this: the hug is the moment. It's the only time when you're allowed to be close without words, without explanation, without needing permission to say what you really feel. And that's what makes it dangerous and powerful. Because in a hug, she feels who you really are. Not who you're pretending to be, not who you hope she sees, but the real you. The one that shows up when your mouth is silent and your presence is exposed. You see, energy doesn't lie. If you're distracted, she'll know. If you're insecure, she'll feel it. If you're too eager, too stiff, too rehearsed, it breaks the illusion. You could have said all the right things at dinner. You could have looked sharp, smiled at the perfect times. But if your hug feels mechanical, if there's no warmth in your chest, no intention behind your arms, she'll leave wondering, was any of that real? Because here's the truth. The body tells a story the mind tries to hide. In a hug, reveals everything. But here's what most men never learn. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be smooth. You just need to be present. That means slowing your breath, grounding your feet, feeling your own heartbeat in your chest before you ever reach for hers. It means letting go of the need to impress and focusing instead on the connection. When you hug from presence, from calmness, from stillness, she feels safe. And safety is what creates space for desire. You don't need to speak louder. You need to listen more deeply, not with your ears, but with your body. When you hug her with presence, with no agenda, no desperation, no rush, that's when she feels it. That's when she remembers it. And long after your arms let go, long after the world continues spinning, there's still a part of her that stays in that moment, wondering what it was about your touch that made her feel something she can't quite name, but won't forget. Segment 2: Understanding the types of hugs and what each one really says. Not all hugs are created equal. Some are light and forgettable. Others leave echoes. And if you're paying attention, really paying attention, you'll realize that a hug is never just a hug. It's a signal, a test, sometimes even an invitation. Women don't always communicate their feelings directly, but they do show you through subtle gestures. The type of hug she gives you and how long she holds it tells you everything. Let's break them down, one by one, so you can stop guessing and start understanding. Type 1. The friendly pat. It's the kind of hug you've probably felt 100 times. Her arms reach around you, but her body holds back. There's a quick tap on the shoulder, maybe even a polite smile, and then it's over. No warmth, no stillness, just a moment that feels more like social protocol than genuine affection. This is what we call the friendly pat. And at first glance, it feels like a dead end, but it's not. See, most men make a mistake here. They read this hug as rejection. They assume, she's not into me. And in response, they emotionally shut down. They step back. They retreat into indifference. They match her energy, or worse, pull away completely. But here's the truth. A friendly pat doesn't always mean disinterest. Sometimes it means caution. Sometimes it means she doesn't yet know what kind of man you are. Think of it like this. A woman's hug is like a locked door. Not because she's cold, but because she's learned to protect what matters. If you knock gently and walk away, she assumes you were never that interested. But if you pause, just for a moment longer, if you stay present, grounded and calm, she might take a second look. That extra second is everything, not because you're forcing your presence, but because you're signaling something deeper. I'm not in a rush. I'm here with intention. And here's the Stoic truth most men miss. Presence, not pressure, creates connection. When you stay calm in the face of emotional ambiguity, when you hold a pause without seeking a reward, you become the rare kind of man she can feel safe exploring. And sometimes, that's all it takes. Not a grand gesture, not a clever line, just the courage to linger, not in her space, but in the moment. Type 2. The comfortable hug. It's warmer than a casual pat, but not quite a signal of desire. Her arms are steady. Her body stays close, but not pressed. And for a brief moment, there's quiet. Not just in sound, but in energy. This is the comfortable hug, the space where trust begins. She's not protecting herself from you, but she's not fully opening the door either. It's a hug that says, you feel safe. And here's what you need to understand. Safety is not the opposite of attraction. It's the foundation of it. But most men misread this. They see it as a signal to escalate. They lean in too far. They try to turn comfort into conquest. And in doing so, they break the very thing that was starting to build. You see, in Stoic philosophy, there's a virtue called temperance, the ability to hold back when your emotions want to leap forward. And that's exactly what this hug demands. Not coldness, not passivity, but restraint with awareness. When she gives you this hug, your only task is to remain calm, remain steady, remain present without reaching for more. You are telling her, without saying a word, I am not here to take anything from you. I'm here to meet you where you are. That kind of emotional discipline, it's rare. And that rarity, your ability to hold the moment without clinging to it, is what leaves a deeper impression than charm ever could. So here's a subtle move. After the hug ends, don't step away too quickly. Let your hand rest lightly on her back for half a second more. Not possessively, but with intention. Then meet her eyes. not to search for meaning, but to share the moment. That lingering calmness, that quiet confidence creates emotional contrast. And contrast is what makes something memorable. In a world full of men who chase, you'll be the one who waited. And in doing so, gave her something she didn't expect, a sense of safety with a hint of mystery. Type 3, the lingering hug. There's a moment when the world slows down. You're in her arms, she's in yours, and neither of you moves. Not because you're frozen, but because something sacred is unfolding. This is the lingering hug. It's not just an embrace, it's a quiet confession. One that doesn't use words. Her body tells you, I'm here. I'm feeling this. I don't want it to end. It's subtle, but unmistakable. The softness in her shoulders, the way her breathing slows, the warmth that spreads between you, not from intensity, but from presence, is the emotional equivalent of twilight. That gentle moment between day and night, when everything feels suspended and nothing needs to be said. Most men ruin this. They flinch, they shift their weight, they joke nervously or pull away too soon, because stillness feels too raw. But what they don't understand is that stillness is the doorway. If she lingers and you match her without fear, if you hold her not tighter, but softer, you signal that you feel it too, not with lust, with depth. A gentle touch across her back, a slow exhale, a calm presence. These are the signals that tell her she's safe, not just physically, but emotionally. That's rare. And rare becomes unforgettable, because in her world, filled with men who chase, press, and perform, you become something else entirely. A mirror. Someone who doesn't grab, but reflects what she feels. The Stoics taught us that strength isn't force, it's control. And the man who can stay still in a moment of rising emotion is the one who earns trust without asking for it. So if she lingers, don't think, don't act, just feel. And let her feel that you feel it too. Because a pause like that might be short in time, but it can echo for days in her mind. Type 4, the intimate embrace. You'll know it's different the second it happens. She doesn't just lean in. She gives herself to the moment. Her body softens completely. Her breathing slows. Her head rests against you, not casually, but deliberately. It's the kind of embrace that says, right now, this feels like home. And it is. In that one moment, you've become a sanctuary, not because of anything you said, but because of the way you made her feel. Picture this. A woman spends her day navigating noise, glances, opinions, expectations, pressure. She's surrounded, yet rarely seen. And then, there's you. You don't try to impress. You don't perform. You simply offer stillness. And in your stillness, she feels something she's almost forgotten. Peace. That's what this hug is. Not a gesture, a return. Like a harbor after a storm, or a fire after the cold. But here's where most men fail. They get greedy. They sense her openness and try to turn it into something else. Validation, escalation, control. And just like that, the moment breaks. Because this kind of hug isn't an opening, it's a gift. And gifts aren't meant to be taken, only received quietly. The Stoics understood this deeply. They called it ataraxia, a state of serene calm, undisturbed by passion or chaos. That's what you must bring to this moment. Let her rest. Let the silence speak. Let the moment stretch without trying to control it. And when it's time to let go, don't rush. Release her gently. Hold her gaze for a second longer. Say nothing, but let her feel everything. Because she won't remember what you wore. She won't remember what you said, but she will remember how safe it felt to fall into your arms and not want to leave. Segment 3, Mastering Emotional Awareness, how to read the energy of a hug like a Stoic. The hug ends, but the moment doesn't. There's something left behind, a silence, a shift, a question that hums quietly between your chest and hers. What did that mean? Most men never learn how to answer that. They race to fill the gap with logic, with overthinking, with mental loops that sound like, did I do it right? Was she into it? Did I mess it up? But emotion isn't a problem to solve. It's a language to listen to. And the Stoic, he listens, not with his ears, but with his presence. Because every hug is like music. Not everyone can hear the rhythm, but those who do can feel the message in the pauses. You don't need to analyze her expression like a puzzle. You don't need to chase meaning like a man starved for validation. Instead, you feel. Was her body relaxed or guarded? Did she linger or retreat? Was her breath steady or did it shift? These are not facts. They are signals. And if you stay still long enough, emotionally and mentally, you'll start to recognize them. Like a sailor reading the wind. Like an archer sensing the tension in the bow before release. This is what separates men who connect from men who chase shadows. Emotional awareness is the quiet art of recognizing energy without needing to control it. Because when you feel without fear, when you stay rooted in the moment without needing an answer, she feels that, and that calmness, that rare, unshaken clarity, it becomes your signal to her. One that says, I see you, I feel you, and I don't need to rush this. That's not passivity, that's power. The kind of power that doesn't shout, but leaves echoes in her memory. Segment 4, Emotional Intentionality, how to send a message without saying a word. Most men think touch is physical, but it's not. Touch is energetic. It's not about what your hands do. It's about what your presence communicates. And here's the secret. The message always comes through, whether you mean to send it or not. The insecure hug feels hollow. The rushed hug feels anxious. The mechanical hug feels cold. But the intentional hug, that one stays with her. Think of it like this. Imagine two musicians playing the same melody. One plays the notes perfectly. Every beat, every pitch, flawless. But the other plays it with emotion, slower, deeper, present. Which one do you remember? The one who didn't just play the song, but felt it. That's what a hug should be. Not a performance, but an expression. That's emotional intentionality. Now picture this. You haven't seen her in a few days. She walks toward you, unsure what version of you she'll get. The distracted one, the rushed one, or the one who's fully present. And then, you hug her. But this time, you've already set your intention. You breathe. You slow down. You ground yourself in one quiet thought. I want her to feel held, not just touched. You wrap your arms around her. You soften your grip. You let your stillness become her calm. And in that pause, something opens. She exhales. Her shoulders melt. She rests her cheek against your chest, not because she has to, but because something in your presence said, it's safe here. That's intentionality, not control, not strategy, but quiet emotional leadership. A hug like that doesn't end when your arms let go. It echoes. It follows her. When she walks away later that day, she won't remember the words you said, but she'll remember the feeling. And that's how you stay on her mind, without ever trying to. Segment 5, the art of letting go. How the way you end, the hug creates lasting impact. The hug is fading, but this is not where you check out. In fact, this is where most men lose the moment. They pull away too fast. They break eye contact. They joke, shift, or disconnect, unaware that the exit is just as important as the entrance. But you know better, because the way you let go tells her everything. It tells her whether you were present or performing, whether you're emotionally grounded or just passing through, whether the moment was real or just routine. Think of it like leaving a beautiful room. You don't slam the door. You don't rush out. You take one last look, not out of regret, but out of reverence. And that's how you exit a meaningful embrace. So when the time comes to pull away, do it gently. Let your arms relax slowly. Let the space return at the same pace it was built. Maybe you keep your hand lightly on her back for one more beat. Maybe you pause and meet her eyes. No words, just presence. That tiny moment, that breath of stillness, is what leaves the echo. It says that meant something to me, and I'm not in a rush to forget it. And here's the paradox. When you let go too easily, it feels unfinished. When you hold on too long, it feels forced. But when you let go at the right moment, with calm awareness, you leave her with a sense of completeness and mystery. She'll walk away, not just remembering the hug, but wondering why it felt so different. That's the Stoic touch. Not just a mastery of the moment, but a mastery of release. The hug is over, but she still feels you, not in her arms, in her memory. Not because you were smoother, but because you were present. And presence? That's what lingers. Most men are forgotten the moment they walk away. But the rare ones, the ones who know how to hold a moment and how to let it go, they stay with her, in silence, in stillness, in the space she never knew a hug could reach. So ask yourself, when you touch someone, do you leave an impression that fades, or one that echoes? If you like this video, hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more Stoic strategies to master the moments most men overlook.